Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Suburban Stone Age. Today's video is about pit firing pottery that we made from our own backyard clay. The results will be something like this pot, but we're going to pit fire it in the fireplace in our living room. So stay tuned, I'll show you how to do it. So I'm here in the living room, and in advance I've gathered all the supplies that I need. All of this wood was from our own backyard, so every time I would prune a tree, I would chop it up into kindlings, sort it by size, and now it's easy and convenient to use for firing. I'm going to be firing in our fireplace in our living room. As you can see, we've had fires in there for years, decades actually, so it's not all that unusual that a fire is going to be happening in the house. What's different is that we're going to have to get it built correctly and up to temperature over time so that we can fire a piece of pottery. And today's stunt pottery is this piece here. And this is called a pookie. So this pookie is actually a tool for making more pots. It's going to be the first piece that I've pit fired, but I've done other pieces. The pot I showed you in the intro was done in an electric kiln. So I'm going to show you the differences in how they come out in pit firing versus the electric kiln. And we'll see what happens. Now it's time to build the fire. What I've done is started with some paper towels that were used to clean up a gob of bacon grease. This is a great way to actually recycle household grease that it's hard to find a purpose for that. But in any case, if you put it on a paper towel, it makes a great fire starter and it holds a flame for a long time like a candle. So I'm going to use that plus some kindling. And the purpose here is to sort of get a bed of coals going, to warm up the fireplace, get a bed of coals going. We're preheating the oven basically for the pottery. So as I'm getting this preheated bed of coals going, I'm also putting the pookie up into the coals a little bit to get that preheated. You don't want thermal shock. So I'm going to take its temperature. It's about 178. And then inside the coals, it's blowing out the thing. It's too high for it to read. All right. So it's over 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Which makes sense. Do you see that sort of cantaloupe colored coal in there? That's about the color temperature that I want my pottery to get to in order to fire it properly. So I'm going to keep warming up the pookie as the coals burn down, and then once they have burned down, I'll move the pookie into the coals on top of the grate. This grate here is what I'm going to use as kiln furniture, and then set up, rekindle the fire and get it burning really hot. Again, I'm shooting for about 1700 to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's a pretty brisk fire. So I'll get it up to temperature and let it stay there for a little bit, and then let the fire burn down and let the pottery cool on its own inside. Similar to annealing is how I think of it. And then at the end of the day, I will pull it apart once it's cool and check out how it came out. So now I've set the pookie in the fire over the coals, and I'm going to build the fire up around it and get it very hot. Okay, the pookie is now up to 373 400 degrees. That's good. So it's even more into the fire and it's getting warmer and warmer. Okay, good. I've built the fire back up by creating like a TP shape of kindling over the coals, and it's catching back on, but I'm still going to add even more fuel to get this really hot. Okay, the pottery is about 563 degrees. So we got to keep going. Right now the pottery is up to 960 degrees and it has cracked. That happens. It's part of the process. I maybe raised the temperature too fast, but I don't know. We'll see. We're still going to continue through to the end. On a side note, when you are at this phase of rekindling the second fire, you will normally put potsherds on top of the pieces that you're firing to protect it from smoke, like you get black cloudy marks on it. I don't have any yet. This is going to actually be my very first one that I've made. And since it's broken, I am still able to reuse it, both for future firings and also if I grind up the pottery, I can use it as grog for future pots to keep them from cracking. Okay, so I saw the pottery get to the color temperature that I wanted, and I saw it reached 900 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not high enough for what I wanted, but my thermometer can only go so high. So I'm going to let the fire die down to coals right now. I'm going to close the screen here, let it die down, and then we'll come back when the fire has died out and the pottery has cooled, and we'll see the results. Now it's time for the big reveal, and I can tell you right now this Pookie did crack in the fire, so it's basically, oh boop, this is not a success in that respect. However, it is a success in that we did it. So in just a sec, I will show you the differences between the two different methods. Oh, this is terrible. Okay, hang on, I'll show you the difference. So here's the side-by-side. This was obviously fired in a very controlled environment, electric kiln. I had a digital temperature display. The clay body I made myself, though, that all came from backyard clay. This was the same stuff, it was just pit fired. So what I've learned, pit firing is an art and a science. I need to keep practicing. I have some potsherds here to work with and do an autopsy on. Also, I need to develop patience too. There might have been too much moisture in this pot, this Pookie here. We'll see. Anyway, that is the end of this experiment of pit firing in my living room. I'm going to make more pots and try again, and I will show you those results. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and what we've learned here. Also, subscribe if you'd like to join us for our adventures in sustainable living. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.